Okay, so apart from being missing for almost a month now, I don't know where to start exactly because this is one of those videos where, as an upcoming YouTuber, you really think thoroughly before you make this video. And it's one of those things where you call your mom and you're like, Mom, am I about to make a grave mistake? And depending on her answer, you choose how you will proceed. But after giving it a lot of thought, I ended up realizing that I really don't care who I piss off. For one, as you might have noticed by the title of this video, I'll be talking about Ichigo's Bankai. Now, for one, I am like literally the biggest Ichigo fanboy. Ichigo is my favorite fictional character, like even just below Batman. I would say below Batman, but definitely he's my favorite shonen MC or protagonist, anime protagonist, and call it anything. And for a few years now, like 3 years, I was on Instagram defending Ichigo against, all these attacks from Naruto fans, from Goku fans, and I believe I have earned my right to criticize Ichigo. I have earned my right to critique all these aspects of Ichigo. And now, it might come off as weird, but I have to be honest with you guys. Ichigo's Bankai is one of the most boring things about Bleach. And I know this is where some of you are gonna click the dislike button, but I don't really care. I said what I said and I'm gonna say what I say. And now I'm not gonna come at you with these written points, these well described or in-depth explanation as to why Ichigo's Bankai is the most boring thing about Bleach or is just underwhelming. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not trying to prove myself to you or to prove my point to you. This is just me, coming out with my own opinions and my own views on the topic of Ichigo's Bankai. And as a big fan of Ichigo, and most of you who've been with me since the beginning, even since Instagram, know that I have been called Ichigo's cocksucker. I've been called Ichigo's decrider. I've been called all names just because of Ichigo. So you should actually let me have this moment where I actually say something negative about Ichigo. Now, the thing with Ichigo's Bankai, I'm gonna start since Soul Society. Now, back in Soul Society, when Ichigo revealed his Bankai, it was awesome. I'm not gonna lie. It was awesome. It was epic. The first time he used the speed thing, he made the after image. That was really cool. It was so cool to see his sword change and become a katana now and not that big mid cleaver. And also his garments also changed. That was really epic. I think Ichigo is the only person, apart from Toshiro, who gets an ice armor. I think Ichigo might be the only Bankai which changes the clothes and actually gives him new clothes. That's pretty weird if you think about it. Like, where the fuck does that clothes come from? Like, I know it's made of Reiatsu, it's part of his Bankai, but it's pretty awesome to know that it actually changes his appearance and his outfit. And it's cool. It makes Ichigo's Bankai one of the most unique, but that doesn't change the fact that it's still boring. So after that fight with Byakuya, Ichigo used this Getsuga Tensho. Like, there was nothing about Ichigo's Bankai from that point onwards. There were no abilities. There was nothing. It was just, it increases his speed, increases his strength and whatever, and compresses his spiritual pressure and changes his sword. And then there's literally nothing else that changes. It's still the same as his Shikai. And it's really hard for me to actually say this as a fan of Ichigo, but Kubo really, he gave look at Toshiro's Bankai. It has all these amazing ability. Hyoten Hyakaso, it has, I cannot name all of them, but it has so many techniques that most of the times you won't see a technique in a fight used twice, or you may know that Toshiro's Bankai has this ability and then he will never use that ability in that fight, but then in the next fight he will use, you get what I'm saying. There's that variety. But Ichigo's Bankai is so bland, and even Toshiro Bankai gets even more interesting because when he goes into his adult form. Now, if you take that and look at Ichigo's Bankai, it literally does nothing else. Now, I'm not saying that's bad, but the issue is you get used to it. That is the issue. You get used to seeing Ichigo do the same things, go Bankai, spam Getsuga Tensho. That's literally all his Bankai does. In fact, and I can attest to this, and stop me if I'm wrong. You stopped giving a shit about Ichigo's Bankai after he achieved it? Probably after the fillers. I know you did. Do not lie to me. Most of you even stopped, like it became nothing special because it was just the same thing. He goes Bankai, nothing changes. And at some point we were teased with the back when, you know, I think the guidebook or whatever was released for the, was it called the Bleach Unmasked data book? Yeah. And we were hinted at his Bankai actually having something else to it. Remember during the fight with Vastolode Ichigo, when he calls his Bankai, or the sword, that's when my interest in Ichigo's Bankai was piqued. But after that, nothing. We got nothing. Nothing was up until the Unmasked data book came, where it explained about why Vastolode was able to call the chain. Nothing was ever mentioned about that chain at all, up to the entirety of Bleach. And I always figured there was something about Ichigo's chain, the chain on his Bankai, but Kubo never like touched on it ever again, even in the final Bankai. Now let's talk about what makes Ichigo's Bankai. Now I have to be honest, okay, let me just backtrack for a second. I have to be honest. Although Ichigo's Bankai is basic, does nothing special, you have to admit that Kubo did a pretty good job of giving him a new Bankai almost every 200 chapters. That is awesome. I won't deny that. I have to give Kubo credit, because we were getting used of the old Bankai. When he lost his powers, then he got the new Fullbring Bankai. That was awesome. Him getting new Bankais every now and then, new swords every now and then, it makes things interesting, but it doesn't change the fact that Ichigo's Bankai is still boring. He goes into Bankai, does nothing else, just increases his speed, his attack power, and he can spam Getsuga tensions. That's literally all. In all the iteration of his Bankai, that's all his Bankai does. And that's why Ichigo's Bankai is just one of the most boring things when it comes to Ichigo as a character. I mean, Ichigo's drip is, he's got level drip. He has drip that I can give him. He has, the looks, maybe, yeah, he does, orange hair, black. It makes him unique. He has a unique goal as a character, something that we've never seen before in, shonen, up until somebody like Yuji came along. We never saw someone have these, grounded goal. I just want to protect my friends. Most of the shonen characters or main characters back then had this big plan. I have to take revenge on this guy. I have to do this. I have to become Hokage. I have to become the Pirate King. But Ichigo was just there like, I just want to protect the people I love. That is pretty unique, and it sets him apart from other shonen protagonists. But when it comes to his Bankai, which is the most interesting part about Bleach, Bankais are literally the highlight of Bleach. Go onto YouTube and just search the word Bankai and look at the views. Just look at the views the video has. Each video has that somebody has done about Bankai, top 10 Bankai, top 5 Bankai, strongest Bankai. Just look at those videos. The views are insane. That just shows how much of a big aspect of Bleach Bankais are. And that is why, to me, Ichigo's Bankai is underwhelming. And in the final arc, I expected us to, get a little bit of exposition about his Bankai. Maybe his chain can do something can change fate. His chain has a special ability. I expected that, but we got nothing. It was literally just a big, bulky sword that cuts things really well. And that's not bad. It gets the job done, but you have to make it interesting. It's not interesting at all. It does just what the other Bankais did before, and the first Bankai did before. It cuts things really good. It spams Getsuga tensions. That's where it stops. And as a big fan of Ichigo, that is a disappointment to me. I expected Ichigo to have something more. And I have to mention this. Kubo did give Ichigo, the Grand Zero, where he can use the Grand Zero with his sword. That is interesting. The Horn of Salvation is interesting, but it's just an updated version of the Holomask, so it's nothing really to go about or to or about. And I believe I've said everything. Ichigo's Bankai is boring to me. It's basic. It's disappointing. There's nothing to it. It cuts people. I agree. It destroys people. It cuts Yuha in half. But I think there could be more. The point was, Ichigo's Bankai to me is boring. Now you may disagree, you may dislike the video. I don't really care. This is my opinion. I'm entitled to it, and I may not be right in your opinion or from your standpoint. but I don't really care. This is my opinion, and to me Ichigo's Bankai is underwhelming. I wish it could have done more. I wish we could have gotten what was this with the chain, because we were told Ichigo's chain is connected to, and even the name. Like, do you remember the name of his Bankai? Like Moonslaying, whatever. I cannot even think well. His name gave me so much hope that maybe there was something, just something about this Bankai. Maybe a hidden ability or something. It just gave me hope. But unfortunately, Kubo never explored on it. Maybe it's because he was rushed at the end, or because he ended it quickly, or he didn't really have, because I was told Bleach was supposed to end in 2020 or something like that, or 2022. I don't really know, but Bleach was not supposed to end in 2016. People know Bleach ended 100 and something chapters short. Maybe we could have gotten a little bit more exposition on Ichigo's Bankai, what it can do, but we never did. And apart from the aesthetic, it looks cool. It's a big sword, like the final Bankai. It's a big sword, it looks cool. You know, it has the drip factor in, but apart from that, there's nothing interesting. Because even if you look at other Bankais, like Shunsui's Bankai, which has these different stages, different plays, Yamamoto's Bankai has these different, you know, parts. North does this, South does this. There's a risk for North of... I don't even know what I'm saying, but what I know is that Ichigo's Bankai is underwhelming compared to other Bankai of, you know, major characters. Like, look at Shuhei Isagi's Bankai. That shit is just, oh my goodness. And when you look at this Bankai, you just realize Ichigo's Bankai is boring. I think I'm gonna end the video there, because I really don't want to turn this into a rant, but yeah, Ichigo's Bankai is boring. If you don't disagree, then like the video to let me know you don't disagree, or you disagree. And I'm sorry this had to be the first video I make after a really long period away. So I hope I'll be back regularly. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you didn't, feel free to dislike it, but at least subscribe to the channel. You may like the other video that I upload. And I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe, be healthy, and could you drink water?